Namaskar. Decoding Indian ways of eating. Food is a very, very complex subject to understand. The world is experimenting new foods, new recipes, new combinations, and new styles of consuming it to make it more aesthetically beautiful. But hardly they know that they are breaking the age-old science of perfect and healthy eating. How we eat is equally important as what we eat. Our ancestors have passed on to us the right recipes, the right ways to eat, and the right ways of making it. It's time that we start acknowledging it, its science and its significance. Food is a function of many variables: season, geography, local availability, attitude, and body type. But we hardly pay attention to the medium and the ways in which we consume it. And this is our topic of focus today: right medium of food consumption. That too, Indian ways. Number 1, eating with hands. In this aesthetically driven modern world, some consider eating food with hands to be unhygienic and unpleasant. They consider eating with spoon and other gadgets is more comfortable. They are used to that and they would like to do that. According to Ayurvedic tradition, eating food should involve all senses. The touch of food to your fingers and the feeling of its texture can really trigger the nerve endings of your fingers, which are connected to your digestion. These nerve stimulations are known to activate and stimulate your digestive juices. Also, according to Ayurveda, these 5 fingers represent 5 constituents of food. Thumb represents fire, Agni. Forefinger, air, Vayu. Middle finger, Akash, ether. Ring finger, earth, Prithvi. And little finger represents water, Jala. Holding food with all the 5 fingers is like a good mudra. It symbolizes the union of all elements, which are essential for the normal functioning of our body. So don't be embarrassed by eating food with your hands. Show to the world the right way of eating, the Indian way. Number 2, sitting on the floor. In India, sitting on the floor and eating together is a family activity. You understand, in yoga, they say that sitting on the floor involves so many muscles. You see, eating food in sitting position presses the lower spine and relaxes the whole body. The back and forth movement while eating gives nice compression to your abdomen, and this stimulates the release of digestive juices. The compression is maximum in sitting position. Sitting in chair brings more pressure on your heart. When you are sitting on chair, your heart has to really pump blood from toe upwards against gravity, and that is a strain. I would say that even on chair, if you bring your both legs up and sit, you would be reducing the gravity force, and that would help your heart and the general health condition. So, more blood is facilitated for more digestion. Sitting posture is naturally a yoga posture by itself. It has a calming effect on your mind. When the individual sits on the floor, the nervous system also performs better, and the transmission of signals happens very easily, very effectively. As a result, sitting on the floor and eating has a huge weight reduction advantage. So, sit and enjoy your meals. Third, relation between food and vessels, patra. Indian culture has really studied the effect of different food on different vessels. These vessels can have positive or even negative effect on your food. In Indian tradition, every vessel has its own advantage in cooking or in storing food. Copper has a strong intoxication property over water. That is why copper vessel was used for storing the water right from the beginning in India. Another example, ghee, if stored in a bronze vessel, can become toxic. That is why ghee is stored in a metal vessel. And now the metal available is steel. So now with us we have steel vessels. So ghee should be stored in steel vessels. In olden times, fruits used to be kept in the leaves, covered with leaves, and they would always remain healthy. Stones were used in olden times for crushing, grinding, and they were so good. Nowadays that is not possible, but still if it is made possible, still there are people who tell me then chutney made grinding on the stone is far superior than done in mixer. But these were all very good customs. So make sure that you put right food in a right vessel, a right container. Think and do it correctly. Fourth point, eating in silence. We gather around food, we celebrate around food, we socialize around food, we discuss around food, we have conferences around food, we argue around food, we do all such things around food. So not talking around food seems really impossible in today's time. But it is all about the choice we make to eat in silence without talking, with no one around. Eating in silence is always a common practice in our Indian culture. When you eat in silence, you really focus on food, you chew your food really properly, the saliva gets mixed with the food morsel so nicely that it really helps in better digestion, absorption, assimilation of our food. Eating food in silence can be really meditative in nature, and it can really calm your mind down. And when food eaten with calm mind, without anger, frustration and negative, every food is going to give you all the nutrients in your body, and you will never suffer from malnutrition or any of the food related problems. Our mind and body are strongly connected. This is the reason why your mouth waters when you are thinking about your favorite food. Mind stimulates the secretion, and so similar phenomenon occurs when you are eating in silence. You become mindful of the flavor, of the texture, and this stimulates the secretion and helps in better digestion. When you eat in silence, what happens? The mind becomes aware of flavor of food, texture of food, and that in turn stimulates the digestive juices, secretes the proper proportion of juices, and helps in better absorption and assimilation of nutrients. When you talk while eating, more air is taken along with the food, and that will cause bloating of stomach and uneasy feeling. With lots of distraction of television and mobile and loud sounds around, person tends to eat fast, and in turn he disturbs the digestion totally. Whereas eating with silence, no distractions around, makes person feels to enjoy food, every morsel thoroughly well, relish the food well, and benefit from food really well. Person will never overeat. Person will eat with right quantity, with a right frame of mind, and that's what is required when you sit to eat. In Veda it is mentioned very clearly, Annam Brahma, food itself is God. Rather than having conversations with others, converse with God, that too in silence. So, even the healthiest of food can become toxic if it is not consumed in the right way. The ways of eating food is always been highlighted in all the cultures. Food is one of the cultural identity of every community. Being the land of yoga and spirituality, Indians have always tried to introduce every healthy aspect into the food. And that is why yogic food is called as a sattvic food. So follow these food habits and let's acknowledge the deep science in the ancestral way of eating. Somewhere we should not forget the valuable lessons which are passed down to us. Understand, food once consumed can become medicine or junk. And your ways of consuming will decide what it will turn to, healthy or junk. So, relish your food the right way, the Indian way. Namaskar.